Hello everyone, welcome back to Strawberry Starlight Podfics. Today we will be reading the second installment in the Eraserhead and His Feral Dumpster Child series, written by TheFoggyLondonView. A Monday handled with varying degrees of success. Chapter 1. Aizawa and Izuku's Successful Monday. When Izuku woke up on Monday, a day and a half after being rudely kidnapped from the dumpster, he was on the bed in the room he'd been given by that Eraserhead guy. Really, he doesn't know why he hasn't tried to run away yet, but he can admit, begrudgingly and only to himself, that it's very comfy here. Eraser gives him food regularly, more regularly than he's used to eating, and it's tasty food too. The bed he gets to sleep on is soft, the blanket's warm, and he doesn't have to share his room or anything. Really, Eraser is very nice to him and gives him lots of personal space. Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean Izuku trusts Eraser yet, or that he's decided to stay forever, but for now, it's fine. Sticking around for just a few days can't hurt. By the time Izuku wanders into the kitchen, drawn out by his growling stomach since he hadn't eaten since the snack he was offered after his nap the day before, Eraser was already cooking breakfast. He sat in his chair, the same one he sat in the previous days, and grumbled to himself softly while clutching his new notebook. He hoped he'd get some of whatever it was Eraser was making. It smelled really good, and he was so hungry now. He wished he hadn't refused dinner the day before, but he's just not used to having so many meals in a day. "Morning, Izuku," Eraser greeted. "Food's almost done. I'm sure you're probably hungry by now." Izuku rubbed at his eyes. "We're going to start working on your eating habits today, all right?" Eraser continued, getting a sleepy, half-whine, half-growling noise from Izuku in response. "Yeah, I know you want to stuff your face, kid, but your body needs to get used to following a regular meal schedule again. That means not eating like now's your only chance." Okay, well, looks like he'll be running away sooner than he thought. There's no way in hell Izuku will be staying here if his access to food starts getting restricted. Nope, not worth it. No way, no how. Except when a plate of cheesy eggs, crispy bacon, cinnamon sugar toast was actually placed in front of him, Izuku found it wasn't actually restricted. He'd actually been given the average amount of food one could expect when eating a complete breakfast. He probably wouldn't get seconds if he asked, since the goal was not to make this his only meal he needs for the day, but it was still more than enough to keep him satisfied until lunch. "What's that look for, kid?" Eraser asked when he noticed Izuku's perplexed look. "Did you think I was cutting you off or something?" Izuku grumbled and made a so-so motion with his hand, which made Eraser's brow furrow a bit. "No, kid, just no. I will never ever restrict your access to food. I just wanted you to eat it at a healthy pace and at regular intervals," Eraser explained patiently as he put a glass of orange juice by Izuku's plate. "As long as you're under my care, you'll be getting 3 full meals a day, and if you're hungry between meals, I'll make sure you get a snack. You will not go hungry here." Okay. Maybe he jumped to conclusions a bit, and he won't actually have to run so soon after all. Sometimes guardians he's placed with think he's a waste of resources and don't like making sure he's fed, but Eraser appears to feel the opposite. Then again, Eraser is also the only guardian who decided to take him in entirely by their own choice. Izuku kind of likes the idea of never having to worry about when he'll eat next, especially if his Eraser's cooking. The guy may look scruffy, but man, does he know how to make tasty food. Of course, Izuku hasn't gotten good food in so long. He may be a poor judge of quality. Izuku cleaned his plate of his breakfast, using his hands to eat again. Eraser didn't complain about it at all, just reminding him to occasionally eat slower and give himself time to let his food settle. This isn't the only chance to eat anymore. He's not sure he'll be able to eat 3 whole meals in a day yet, but Izuku would be lying if he said he wasn't excited to get to try. As he licks the crumbs of cinnamon and sugar from his toast off of his fingers, he finds himself feeling quite comfortable with all this, whatever this is. Well, Time to read books all day again instead of thinking about that. While Eraser was taking care of the dishes, Izuku slipped out of the kitchen to get his book from his room. He had hidden it in a drawer to keep it safe until it was book time again. He put his notebook down and grabbed the book instead. With the book retrieved and notebook forgotten, he went back out and made himself comfy on the sofa, ready to stay put and keep himself entertained until he either started getting tired or it was time to eat again, whichever comes first. Right now, when he'd opened his book, however, Eraser sat near him with a laptop in his hands and immediately went about interrupting his plans. Okay, kid, before we start anything, we have some shopping to take care of, Eraser said while simultaneously working on pulling up several different websites. Ezekiel growled, a displeased scowl set firmly on his face. Eraser wasn't even phased. I know you'd rather read, but the fact of the matter is you only have one pair of clothes that fit, and that's not gonna cut it. So put your book down for a minute and get where you can see the screen so you can pick clothes you'll actually like. There was a pause when Izuku stared at Eraser weirdly, like he was some confusing puzzle. Eraser is buying him new clothes? Just because having one pair isn't enough? Surely there's a catch. No one is just going to spend their money on him. Though he supposes Eraser did promise him a bookcase for his room yesterday. He had also said something about money not being a problem. Still, Izuku is wary of this being a trick to make him owe Eraser in any way. Seeing Izuku clearly not understanding, but not noticing a notebook anywhere for him to write in, Eraser pulled up a new Word document, then put the computer in Izuku's lap. Here, type it out. When Izuku grumbled petulantly, but typed out whatever it was nevertheless, then turned the computer so Eraser could see the screen. What's the catch? Eraser raised an eyebrow. The catch is, if you don't participate and pick things for yourself, I'm choosing for you, and you'll just have to deal with whatever I get because this can't be put off. Izuku mulled over that, then typed again, just to make sure. Eraser knows that he's not going to pay him back for this in any way. It's best to make sure Eraser knows what to expect so he can't make any unreasonable requests. Obviously, you don't owe me anything, Eraser replied incredulously. You're the child I'm adopting. I'm supposed to buy you things to keep you cared for. You'll never have to pay me back for providing for you. He's still on that adopting bullshit? Izuku had thought he was lying about the whole wanting to keep him long-term thing. Certainly no other home wanted or planned to keep him past the legal requirement, and most even had every intention of kicking him out the moment he turned 18 if they couldn't pawn him off on another home before then. Eraser seems to like him for some weird reason, though, so maybe he was being serious? Well, if playing along gets him some new supplies for when he eventually has to run, then he doesn't mind going with it for now. Izuku conceded to shopping by nodding and handing the laptop back. If you don't feel like picking out a lot right now, you don't have to, okay? Eraser said as he switched over to some clothing websites for Izuku's age group. I can take you to the mall to buy more stuff once I know for sure you won't get another sudden energy drop like yesterday. I'm sure neither one of us want you getting tired and falling asleep in the middle of a crowded shopping center. That was fair. Izuku's midday naps would make day trips difficult. It's not like he can help that he gets so tired. If you think you can handle it, maybe in a few days I'll take you to the grocery store and you can pick out your own snacks, Eraser added. Snacks? Oh, Izuku is definitely going to have to stay long enough to get his own snacks. So, Izuku didn't fuss too much more and decided to pick out some clothes on the laptop. It'd be nice to have some new clothes anyway. It gets cold in the winter. After a while, Izuku ended up pressed into Eraser's side when continually passing the laptop between them got annoying. Eraser just let him do as he pleased without drawing attention to it. There weren't a lot of restrictions placed on what things he got. As long as it would fit, it didn't really matter what gender it was for, and as long as he picked out enough of the type of things Eraser wanted him to get, if he found something not on the list he really liked, adding it wasn't a problem. Eraser did add a few small furniture pieces to the online cart himself, like some boxes that looked like treasure chests and some soft pillows that looked like gems. It took Izuku a second, as he hadn't been paying close attention at first, but once he started noticing the pattern, he realized Eraser was only adding extra things that were subtly dragon themed in one classic fashion or another. Since he still refused to speak Japanese to the man, Izuku decided to just get huffy and make it clear he was done with this shopping task. He wasn't going to let Eraser trick him into wanting to stay here just because he was being nice to him and feeding him and remembering the things he likes, and embracing the dragon part of his lineage. Yeah, that's too good to be true. All right, you can go read now, Eraser responded when he noticed Izuku's huff. Thank you for being patient. Izuku pretended the affectionate ruffling of his fluffy curls he received from Eraser didn't make him melt, and quickly scrabbled off to the other end of the sofa with his book in one hand. He was going to try to finish the book this time, and he didn't need to be reminded of how extremely touch-starved he was to distract him from that. Still, Eraser didn't seem to have mind his attitude. He just let him have as much space as he wanted to and didn't bother him other than to give him a jelly pouch as a snack about halfway between when breakfast had been and lunch would be, reinforcing that he's not going to be denied food at all. It was a yummy cherry flavored one, too. That day, he managed to actually eat some of the lunch Eraser made for him. He only made it about halfway through his grilled cheese sandwich, but managed to eat most of his carrot sticks and apple slices. He really liked the sharp crunch that came with biting into them, his above average bite strength making the snap harsher. Eraser had seemed pleased he was able to eat that much already, as if the guy truly wanted to keep him well fed and healthy. But he also didn't make Izuku try to eat more than he was able. Weird. No one but his daddy and mama had ever been this insistent on making sure he's eating enough. It had only taken about an hour after lunch for Izuku to fall asleep, curled into a little ball on one end of the couch with his book still held open against his chest. Shota had stayed on his side of the sofa and watched the entire process happen from the corner of his eye, all while pretending not to notice. It started with stifled kitten yawns, then Izuku rubbing his eyes to keep away sleep. Soon enough, he was curling up into the cushions and trying to keep his eyes open, despite his monumental effort. The call off nap time was too powerful, and he was dozing off before even closing his book. Once he was sure Izuku was fast asleep, Shota got up, gently pried the book from Izuku's grip just long enough to put a bookmark in it before sliding the now closed book back into Izuku's hands. The kid immediately hugged it tightly to his chest and snuggled further into the couch without waking up. It looks like the midday energy dip is going to be a regular occurrence for a while. Shota was sure it'll get better as Izuku recovers from his time on the street, so for now he just gets a blanket and tucks his son in. He takes a chance and ruffles Izuku's impossibly soft curls as well, giving a pleased smile when the kid responds by making a happy, half trilling, half purring noise in his sleep. Adorable. With how long Izuku had been living on the street, not to mention how little attention he probably got during his short stints in various foster homes, Shota knew his kid had to be touch-starved, and this proves it. The little shit's just too proud and guarded to let himself accept the attention he needs. It's okay, though. Shota can tell Izuku's already starting to get comfortable here, and if he wasn't, he wouldn't have snuggled up to him while they were doing the necessary online shopping. Eventually, he'll be comfortable enough to ask for and accept attention. All Shota has to do is be patient and make sure Izuku feels safe and respected. Then just let the progress come at whatever pace Izuku decides. He doesn't expect it to be too hard, though. After all, feral kittens tend to be relatively easy to domesticate, and what is a baby dragon if not just a weird feral kitten? If today goes the same as the previous one, Izuku will probably be asleep for a few hours and wake up about dinner time. Whether he'll be able to eat dinner yet remains to be seen, but Eraser is willing to bet it'll be like yesterday, where he could only manage a jelly pouch at most. That's okay though. Honestly, he's just happy Izuku was able to eat a bit of lunch today. Even small improvement counts as progress. With Izuku fast asleep, he has a few hours where he doesn't have to keep an eye on Izuku and can devote his full attention to other things. So Eraser decides to sit with his laptop a short distance away from Izuku and starts more research into secondary traits and dragons. Secondary traits are a pretty common thing nowadays, regardless of quirk or lack of one in Izuku's case, so he never doubted Izuku's claim of being a dragon, as he put it. So far, the only physical traits he's noticed seem to be Izuku's teeth, which are clearly more predator like as well as rather powerful. If how he treated those carrot sticks earlier was anything to go by. Shota also suspects he probably has some vocal cord modifications too, to be able to make those all too accurate growls and purrs he seems to favor. Otherwise, everything else seems to be behavioral, like how he clearly seems to claim things as his, either hiding them out of sight in his room or keeping them close to his person. Shota already knows he'll probably never be getting Warrior's collection back after Izuku finishes it. Not when the kid has clearly already put a claim on the first book, given how he would rather sleep with it than leave it unattended. Unlike the first subject, the research on dragons gives mixed results. Various types of dragons and myths from various cultures, and all of that, there's a lot of contradiction and variety to sort through. Shota searches through them anyway and finding anything else he can. He wants to be ready to accommodate for any other draconic traits and behaviors Izuku might have. He's already ordered some trust so Izuku can have some real hiding places for things, even ordering some attachable locks to go with them, and he's still looking for a bookcase that can have a door of some kind fixed to it. With how protective Izuku seems to be of books, he's fairly certain Izuku would appreciate not having to worry about nosy people being able to take things off his shelves. Shota would never actually allow anyone to go into Izuku's room without the kid's permission, of course, but giving Izuku the ability to add extra protection to his claims will probably help him feel more secure. It'll especially when Shota starts socializing him, and he'll have to learn to deal with other people visiting the apartment. Shota paused mid-search. Wait, why does it feel like he's forgetting something? He's finished the fostering paperwork and the time off paperwork and emailed it already, so that's not it. Both his jobs knew he's on leave for up to the next 2 weeks as well, so that's not it either. Why then does he feel like he's forgotten to do something important? Oh well, he'll worry about whatever it is later. Right now, he's got to focus his attention on making sure Izuku settles in properly, and on making sure he's able to accommodate any other dragon like behaviors that Izuku might exhibit down the line. He wants to be ready. Izuku is his kid now, and he's going to make sure he takes the absolute best care of him.